Well, hello and welcome to our conversation this evening. My name is Lisa Hanselman. I'm the director of the Mountaineer Parents Club here at West Virginia University. I'm the mom of a current WVU student and one still in high school. So it's nice to have you all joining us. We would love it if you had your camera on so we could see who we're talking to, but we totally understand if you're not up to that. So it's certainly not a requirement. We will go ahead and get you moving quick. So first up, you've met me, and now I'll let our Associate Director of Housing introduce himself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Eric O'Hara, and I serve as the Associate Director for Housing Services.
So what we're going to do now is Eric has a presentation. When he's done with that presentation, we're going to ask you all for questions. You can put them in the chat. You can go ahead and add the questions at any time, but we won't be answering them till Eric's done. And if you need anything, we do have our tech support here. So if you have a question or you're having some trouble with something, feel free to put that in the chat, and our tech support, who is wonderful behind the scenes, will take care of that for you. And now we'll start off with Eric.
Thank you very much, Lisa. I'm going to very quickly give you an overview about housing options and the housing application timeline and process. So I want to give you plenty of time to answer questions. The first thing I wanted to talk about are our three distinct neighborhoods. So where are you going to live? The first one, downtown. So that is on or off of North High Street and includes Borman, both Borman North and South, Dadisman and Stoniker. Like I said, it's on North High Street, just behind the Student Union, the mountain layer. So it's right in the center of campus. Other neighborhood, the Sunnyside neighborhood. It's adjacent to the downtown campus. It's really on the other side of the downtown campus, just behind the Life Sciences building. And then there's the Evansdale campus. And you can see that pictured in the slide. You have the Evansdale residential complex, or we affectionately call them the towers, which is kind of like a mini city. Everything is within that complex, but just next to the towers, you also have Lincoln Hall, which serves as the honors hall for the Evansdale campus. And then you also have Oakland Hall, both east and west, which is one of our newer residence halls that's close to a lot of the athletic facilities. I failed to mention on Seneca, you have the honors hall, and you also have Seneca Hall and Summit Hall. Now, where's the best place to live? One of the halls that I mentioned, so all of them. Most likely you're going to be back and forth between campuses. All of our halls offer, it can be a little bit overwhelming because of the different types of amenities. So for example, I mentioned some of those downtown halls. Some of them are not air conditioned. So that scares a lot of people, but remember, you get here in late August and you leave in early May. So most of the time that students are here, they're not going to be utilizing the air conditioning. And those are more traditional spaces, but people always ask about traditional, what does that mean? It's normally about the bathroom. And that means, is it a community style? So in Borman North and in de-entry of Borman South, that is that traditional community style bathroom, a large restroom that is cleaned daily. And then Borman South also offers some suite options as well. And it's one of the few suites where there may be multiple rooms that is connected by a bathroom, or so you could have 2, 3, or 4 rooms that are connected to a larger ensuite bathroom. Same thing with Stoniker Hall. But that's more traditional in that you have 2 traditional doubles that are connected by a bathroom. And then Dadisman is that traditional community style. Another style of bathroom is the pod or spa style, which is located in Oakland Hall, which is somewhat in between. So it's not ensuite, it's down the hall, but there are lockable pods within that larger bathroom setup that they have there. Some sinks in the common area, but then lockable showers and toilets. So I know I've already started to confuse you, but there are a lot of different options. And that's why we always kind of guide you to our webpage so that you can explore all those different options, look at the amenities chart, and find out what's going to work best for you. The other thing that we want you to do is check out our living learning communities. Many of them are major based, for example, engineering and forensics. If you're in one of those majors, then you'll have that profile on your account. So when you apply for housing and you're going through the self-selection step, you'll have the ability to choose those spaces within those communities. Others are more thematic, so you may have to apply for that particular community. But as you navigate the housing application and on our website, you'll have the ability to review all those different types of living learning communities, learn more about them, learn where they're located, and how you would go about getting assigned to those communities. Transportation. So we are very fortunate in that we have the Personal Rapid Transit System, the PRT, as well as the Mountain Line bus service that gets you anywhere in town. So a lot of students I noticed that have a brother, sister, aunt, uncle, parent, grandparent that went to WVU sometimes make assumptions about all my classes are going to be on the downtown campus, all of them are going to be on the Evansdale campus. Now it's more likely that during your freshman year, you're going to have classes on both campuses and you're going to have to go back and forth. But that's very easy because there's a bus stop right next to you, which is free for WVU students, as well as being close to the Personal Rapid Transit System that can get you back and forth. So I always fear going over some of these options and talking about some of those residence halls that I'm going to overwhelm you with what types of options are out there. So I always say, do your research. Go to our website, housing.wvu.edu. Even I have to cheat. If you can't find something on the website because there's a lot of information there, use the toolbar in the top right-hand corner and just type in Dadesman Hall if you want to learn more about Dadesman, or Summit Hall if you want to learn more about Summit. If you go to a particular hall webpage, you're going to be able to learn more about the building, look at pictures, take a tour. And if you scroll to the bottom, you're going to be able to access room dimensions. And that includes for the desk, for the dresser, for the window, how much space is under the bed. We try to go through all those questions that we receive every year and do our best to answer most of those questions for you on our website. So definitely check that out. Check out the amenities chart, take a tour, look at the living learning community options, but don't let it overwhelm you, because no matter where you're assigned or where you choose to live, I'm sure you're going to be happy there. So timeline, believe it or not, the ball is rolling. So we opened up the portal on October 1st. And the day that it opens, we also open self-selection. So students can apply, list their preferences. After they pay the deposit, go through the application, they're going to go right into the self-selection step, and you'll be able to search for available options. And that's going to remain open through February 28th. It hasn't changed. It's possible it could be a little bit shorter, a little bit longer, depending on what's available in the portal. But typically self-selection will remain open through February 28th. After that time, we're going to look at your preferences. And that's why it's so important. Regardless of when you apply, we're always going to ask you to list your preferences for a living learning community if applicable, and then also list your preferences, at least 3 preferences, where you want to live and what type of room type you're looking for, double, triple, single. Most of our rooms are doubles, but there are other types of layouts available as well. If what you're looking for is not available, so say a spot is filled up, Stoniker is a great example. It's one of our smaller communities, less than 240 beds. It also has a couple living learning communities, the global community, the True Colors community. So spaces may be limited there, depends on gender as well. If you can't find what you're looking for, it is still very, very, very early in the process. So what we would have you do is still select a space, look for your next choice, and then you're going to navigate to the room change step. And it looks exactly like the self-selection step, except it has a message that says you already have a room, you don't need to do anything else, but if you want to explore other options, this is where you do it. And you can look for other spaces, review roommate profiles, and try to find that best spot for you. You'll also have a link to be able to add yourself to the wait list after you select a room. So if you wanted to go into Stoniker and it wasn't available, that's where you'd fill out that form. And like I said, it's still very early. We do our best. We're processing room change requests all the way through the end of June. So we do our best to get students where they want to be. So navigating the portal. So as I said before, you're going to go in there, you're going to list your preferences, you're going to look at your personal information, make sure everything's correct. And then you have the ability to list a profile. So when do you like to get up? How you like to manage guests in your room? How do you share stuff? You'll also have the ability to put social media accounts in there and write a little blurb about yourself. So, and to be able to view profiles of other students, what you'll do is look for the spaces that are available. If there's a space available in that room, you can go to the room info there and you'll be able to see the roommate profile if they've listed one, as well as the profiles for the suite mates as well. So if anybody's assigned to the adjoining suites. If you see something you like, go ahead and grab it. Because like I said, you navigate to the room change step afterwards. So I would grab something if you see it in real time, and then you can spend 10 minutes, 2 hours, or 4 days reviewing other roommate profiles or available spaces. And students may move too, so spaces can open up in real time as well. So searching for spaces is easy. In the left-hand side, you will see room types and prices. I always say skip below. If you're interested in a specific hall, click on just that particular filter for that particular hall. That way you see every space that's available in that particular building, and then you can review all the roommate profiles as well in available spaces for that particular building. Searching for roommates can be a little bit challenging only in that you're limited to only seeing profiles with students that have an available space within their room or within their suite. So the room change list, as I mentioned before, you must, to get on that room change list, this question comes up a lot, you must have an existing assignment. So go ahead and select a space based on what's available. And then I always want to caution you, as I mentioned before, we can accommodate most reasonable requests. It becomes a little bit more difficult if you say that I want to live in Seneca Hall on the 3rd floor with an east-facing room and I want these 2 roommates. That makes it a little bit harder to accommodate that particular request. But if you had just a roommate request, I'm sure we can accommodate that very quickly. If you had just a building request, same thing. As spaces become available or other spaces are released, we'll do our best to get you in there. Now that movement may not take place until after self-selection, but if you get on that list now, you're going to be on the top of that list. And we're going to work with you and send you a notice that that space is available. Would you like us to go ahead and move you to that space? And you can list roommate requests, building requests, and then even room type requests. Now, I know I could talk about this for hours. I could go through each hall, but I don't want to bore you to death. I also don't want to confuse you. So, and I know I may have confused you tonight. So when in doubt, call the housing assignments team. We'll walk you through it if you're having any problems navigating the portal, the housing application. If you have questions about amenities, don't hesitate to contact us. You can email us and you can also call us. And if you miss us, leave us a message. And we're pretty good during business hours at getting back to family members and to students very, very quickly if we have a message, probably within an hour. And with that, wanted to get into questions.
I'm sorry about that. So do you have any questions? If you do, please let us know. Just drop them in the chat there and we'll be happy to get those answered. If anybody wants to unmic and answer or ask a question, we're good with that too. So who wants to be first? What are the laundry facilities like, Eric?
It depends. Every building has laundry facilities. Some are on the floors themselves. For example, in towers, there's washers and dryers on each floor, and some have larger laundry facilities. You don't need to bring coins. You use your Mountaineer ID card, your student ID card to activate washers and dryers. You can actually use the app to reserve and hold washers and dryers and to activate them. They're very easy to use, colors, bright colors, whites, delicates, that way. Hopefully nobody ends up with pink underwear.
And as Eric referred to that Mountaineer card, so that part of that Mountaineer card that you're going to use for laundry is what we call Mountie Bounty. So parents, you can add money to Mountie Bounty, and that is how your student will pay for their laundry. So gone are the days of the rolls of quarters, but it's a lot easier for students to use. All right, next up, do any of the residence halls require students to clean their own bathrooms?
We require that you keep it clean, but the community restrooms are going to be cleaned daily. That's the big advantage there. The suite style bathrooms are still going to be cleaned every few weeks on that schedule. They're going to go in and replenish items. Yes, we do provide toilet paper. I know that's a common question. And they'll go through and clean those at least every 3 weeks, but all community bathrooms are cleaned daily.
So Eric, what about a transfer student? You have some information on how they can go about finding some housing?
Yes, same thing. The world's open to transfer students. So depending on when you're applying, what I was talking about in terms of the timelines were focused on fall of 2022. If you're applying for this coming spring, you'll select that application on the portal, and you're probably within a day, a business day, you're going to receive your assignment that's going to be based on the preferences that you've listed. We don't have the self-selection mainly because we have a lot of students already in place. So it's the middle of the semester, but we're still going to look at your preferences, and then you should get a room assignment and an email notifying you that you have that room assignment, and you can always contact us if something looks funky or if you want us to consider something else.
So Eric, you mentioned transportation from the residence halls. What happens if it snows a lot? Does that transportation still run?
It does still run, and if there is an inclement weather policy too. But I'm confident that the transportation that you're using within town is going to be safer for those of us that are coming from 10, 15, 20, or even an hour away, navigating the hills around Morgantown. So roads are cleared, PRT's running, bus systems are running through those plowed and well-maintained streets inside of town. So should be a solid bet. And if it wasn't, then that's where the university is going to look at their inclement weather policy and determine what they're going to do with classes.
So is housing guaranteed for first-year students?
It is guaranteed, but we want you to apply as soon as possible to maximize your available options. But yes, we have always been able to accommodate all students that want to live in housing that are first-time freshmen or first-time transfers.
So can you refresh everyone on when you can make the housing deposit and the date at which you could get that deposit refunded should their child decide to go elsewhere?
Yes, so you can start depositing now. The application opened, students started depositing October 1st. You can get a partial refund if you cancel up until May 1st. So that May 1st deadline, so that would be, you get everything but $100 of the $225 back.
So should a student put down a housing deposit now for their housing selection if they haven't completely committed to WVU yet? Sorry, I went dark there for a second.
I would suggest if you're thinking about coming to WVU to apply as soon as possible, with the caveat, I realize if you deposit, you would be out that $100, but you would get $125 of the $225 deposit back if you cancel by May 1st. But yeah, to maximize options, if you think it's very likely that you'll be coming to WVU, I would apply as soon as possible.
So Eric, tell us a little bit about the timeline for when a new student can start all this. This family has sent in the deposit, but hasn't done anything else. Can she start looking at rooms now?
Yes. So I think you're referring to, and I'll go back to the timeline, when you're admitted to WVU, you're going to receive information about paying the academic deposit. Once you pay the academic deposit, It's going to take about 24 to 48 hours for the system to sync up. An update runs every afternoon. So typically within 24 hours, you're going to have access to the housing application. If for some reason you happen to pay that deposit right during that process when it's running, it may take 48 hours, but not typically. It's going to be within 24 hours. At that time, you can log on to myhousing.wvu.edu, the housing portal, and apply for housing. Pay the housing deposit, which is $225. And as you navigate through the portal until February 28th, you're going to have the ability to navigate to the self-selection step or the room selection step and choose your own space.
So how do you find a location and a room number on a floor map or find a floor map? This is specifically asking about Summit, looking for, end of the hallway, next to the elevator, near the laundry, etc.
We don't have floor, we have room dimensions, but there's no particular floor maps for each building. But if Tech wants to go ahead and add this number, 304-293-5569. If you give me a call directly, I'll see what I can find for you to give you a better feel for those really, really nitty-gritty questions.
Thank you. We'll add that to the chat. So this question, can't find the room rates for the Climb LLC.
The Climb LLC is in Summit Hall. Most rooms in Summit are double suites. So if you go to our rate sheet, so on our website, just type in rates in the top right-hand corner, and you'll find this year's rates, and then it will update that as soon as we receive the rates for next year once they're approved by the Board of Governors. But yes, in the Climb, it is true. Most of them are double suites in Summit Hall.
So Eric, what is included in a suite?
Suite means that your room is connected to a bathroom. It's an ensuite bathroom. Most cases, those are two doubles connected by a bathroom. There are a few exceptions where you may have a triple or a single connected to a bathroom. And the other big exception is Borman South, that may have 3 or 4 rooms that are connected to a larger suite bathroom.
What about apartment leasing? Are leases in apartments available for spring of 2022?
They are for university apartments if you are an upperclassman or a first-time transfer with 24 or more credit hours that have transferred in, then you'd be eligible to live in university apartments. We do have one residence hall that offers apartment style living, and that's Seneca Hall.
So we get this question a lot, and I'm not sure if there's an actual answer, but what residence hall is considered the most popular among freshmen?
It depends. I mean, obviously Seneca that I just referenced because it has apartment style. Sometimes suite style are more popular, but it's a lot about preference. Some students want to be next to certain things. So if you're on the Evansdale campus, you're close to the Student Rec Center, you're close to athletic events, you've got that green space. If you're wanting to be in the downtown area, some students are looking for, say, Borman South because it's close to the student union. But as soon as I think there's one particular trend, I'm talking to somebody, a student or a parent, and they're asking for something different. I found that most students, once they're in space, that becomes their favorite space on campus because of the experience that they have there.
Okay, so this student has applied to the Honors College, but does not have the outcome yet. What housing should they select since they would prefer to be in honors housing?
I think you're probably going to get an answer very, very soon. And I probably should have brought that up earlier because that's a common question that we get is, hey, I can't see any of the honor spaces, but I applied for honors. So yes, you have to be admitted into the Honors College. And then shortly thereafter, within a day, that information is going to update in our database, which is going to put that profile on your account to be able to see spaces in Honors Hall and Lincoln Hall. In between that time, I would still suggest looking at other available spaces and selecting it, because you can go back after you're admitted and go back into the portal and change your room assignment. That also freaks people out. I hear a lot of voicemails as my team's responding to different calls saying, I picked a spot, can you cancel it for me? And it's like, we don't need to cancel it for you. You can go in there right now and pick a new space, and you can do that 115 times. I wouldn't recommend that. But if you wanted to, you could change rooms 115 times. The only thing you would do is confuse a lot of other students that get that automated email that says, you got a new roommate.
What percentage of students stay on campus after the first year?
I'd say we have a few hundred that stay with us. It varies, and the number gets a little bit confusing when you add resident assistants in there as well. A lot of our students are transitioning to university apartments because it's designed to create that experience, that transitional experience from the residence hall living to apartment living. But I would say probably anywhere from 5 to 10% of our population, varies year to year, are returners.
So when does a student have to start paying for housing, and is there a payment plan?
I'm out of my league on that one because everything so in July, all housing charges and dining charges and university charges are going to go onto your account. And it's one student account that you're managing. And I know the hub, there are some other presentations and they're going to be going over that with you and payment plan, but it's really one bill. It's not us invoicing you or coming after you monthly for your rent check. That's one of the beauties of living in residential or in the residence halls or in the university apartments.
That's true. So it'll all be one bill. The charges will post in early July and they're due in early August. However, we do have a payment plan. You can find that on the Mountain or the WVU Hub website. And the payment plan will actually start in July. So if you can start paying then, and payment plan goes up to about a 5-month plan. So you can check that out, and we'll have a session with the WVU Hub coming up. So we can talk about more about that at the end. So is the academic and housing deposit refundable if a student changes their mind? Because those are two separate deposits, just so we're clear.
Question for me, the housing deposit partially refundable? And I believe the academic deposit is fully refundable by the same date, May 1st.
Okay, on the Facebook page, that would be our Class of 2026 Facebook page, there are posts that a lot of housing is already full. Is that true?
There are some spaces that fill up quickly. So Seneca and Summit fill up very quickly. And I always joke that female spaces fill up quicker than male spaces because I've dubbed it the male slacker effect. Males are a little bit slower to get everything done than their female counterparts. So if you do not see the space that you're looking for, find your second choice, get into that as soon as possible. It's still very, very early. If you get on that room change or that wait list, it is very, very likely that we're going to be able to accommodate that request unless you have a lot of other conditions that I mentioned before, like east facing room, 3rd floor, and I have these 5 people that I want to live with.
Can you pay the housing separate from tuition?
All housing charges go to the student account. So everything's going to go through your student account. There's not a way to invoice that separately.
Can you remind us what percentage of the housing deposit is refundable?
So 125 of the $225 deposit is refundable. So you'd get everything but $100 back by May 1st if you cancel by May 1st.
Uh-oh, that's our last question for now. Any other questions out there, folks, that we can answer for you? What style of housing is Honors Hall?
Honors College is suite style. Most rooms are doubles, 2 rooms connected by a bathroom.
And since it's honors, let's throw in what
Lincoln.
style of housing is Lincoln, which would be the honors of the Evansdale.
They are very, very similar, and it is the same. So they are mostly doubles, 2 rooms connected by a bathroom, which is suite style. And the room layouts are very, very similar.
Do the residence halls have activities by floor or by residence hall to get students to get to know each other?
Absolutely. Our residence life team, which consists of the residence life specialists that are those full-time master's level employees that supervise the residence hall staff, are working with, I would say, the most important student leader on campus. There are many great student leaders, but not many have the same impact on first-year students than our resident assistants, because they are living in the trenches with our first-year students. So they are creating all types of programming opportunities, as well as reaching out to residents to provide support to make sure that they're successful at West Virginia University.
So which residence halls do not have air conditioning?
Borman South and North and Dadisman. I will be the first to admit that I lived in Borman and loved it. Now that was 28 years ago. So that was, but I always mention sometimes the air, I can see that that may be very important to some people, but remember, you get here in mid to late August and the end of the contract is normally that first week of May. So you only use that air conditioning for a few weeks out of the year. But for some people, that's very important. I respect that. So you'd want to look at other options.
So if people would like to get a jump on sheets and bedding with the holidays coming, are most of the beds a long size twin? My
Great
favorite question.
Yes, there's only one exception, Seneca Hall, that has traditional twin beds. All other beds are twin extra long.
That's a very popular question, and we do like that one. Do students need to fully move out between semesters?
No, but another great question. So you have 3 break periods. You have Thanksgiving break, where the residence halls do close. You don't need to move all your items out, but once you move out for the break period, you're not going to have access to that space until the break period ends. So you want to make sure you bring what you need with you. There are some other options for break housing for students that need it. The winter break is by far the longest. So take everything you need during the winter break, but once again, you're not going to have access to that space while the residence halls are closed, and then spring break as well.
So Eric, can the students move the furniture in the rooms to fit a system that they'd like better?
Yes, and it depends on the space. So some are, the layouts are more conducive to moving stuff around. The more traditional spaces, like I mentioned, Borman South, oftentimes those suites in South have 2 rooms. They're not 2 separate bedrooms, but they offer 2 different rooms that are a little bit larger that allow you to move things around. If you're in another space like Honors or Lincoln or Oakland, where it's set up and it's more of a longer room, there's a very specific space for each student. We don't assign if you're in the front of the room or the back of the room, but you can also mix that up too and talk to your roommate about where you want to be and change it. So, and that provides a little bit more privacy in those spaces because of the divider.
So if a family is looking at a living learning experience, what would they put for room preference on the next screen?
I would do your research first, look at the living learning communities. Then when you can preference the living learning community, and hopefully you'll list your room preferences to match where those LLCs are located. Then if it's a major base, say it's engineering, which is in Braxton Tower, you'll be able to select that space just minutes after you put your preferences down. But if it's during the manual assignments period, we're going to look at that. If you preference an LLC or certain types of buildings, we're going to do our best to get you in one of those spaces.
Oh, now here's a good question we should have already mentioned, so I apologize. Eric, tell us about the fridge microwave situation.
You can rent a micro fridge, and I would very much suggest that you rent instead of bringing your own. We allow you to bring your own refrigerator as long as it meets our wattage requirement. We don't allow you to bring your own microwave, but we can allow you to rent a micro fridge combo. The great thing about that is this is one of your biggest, bulkiest things to transport. So lugging it back and forth, not very fun. If you rent it, it's already going to be in your room, and then you can also share that cost with roommates. So in that way, if you're not living in the residence halls in future years, it's probably something you're not going to bring with you either. So it's very beneficial to rent that item. The only place that's going to have a refrigerator is going to be Seneca Hall, that has the full-size refrigerator there. You don't need more than one of those. So typically they're not going to allow you to rent more than one because of space as well as power concerns as well, but you really don't need more than one microwave. If you really needed to, there are certain circumstances with medication or other things where students need to bring an extra refrigerator. And as long as it falls under that wattage requirement, then you can bring that additional mini fridge with you. I'd say feel it out first because you probably just need to rent one.
Thank you. A real quick here for everyone listening. If you are on the Zoom and your Zoom name is just your first name, if you all would mind putting your student's name into the chat for us, we like to check everyone in that's joined us for this evening. Okay, so Eric, if a student is in a suite style residence hall, do they need to provide a shower curtain?
We do provide toilet paper and shower curtains. So you don't need to bring your own shower curtain. You could always, the one thing that's changed in the last 2 decades is Amazon and all these other ways to be able to go to the 2 Walmarts in town, Target, and order things online and have it to your room the next day. Feel it out, get comfortable with the space. We'll give you things that you want to consider bringing, things that you definitely don't want to bring, but you can personalize that space over time. And if you realize you don't like the shower curtain that's there, and it's a suite style restroom or it's in semi-private restroom in Seneca, you can order a new shower curtain, but I bet you like the ones we have. They're not going to have fun designs, but they're going to be very functional.
And that's for Seneca as well, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. We'll take more questions, folks, so go ahead and throw those into us. But Eric, while we're waiting for our next question, let's run over the micro fridge one more time. And do you have a general idea of what the cost is for the micro fridge so we can share that with families?
You know what, you caught me off guard. You would think I would know that one. I believe it's $235 off the top of my head.
I believe it is roughly $235. You're right.
Yes, and I should say to look at all optional services like micro fridge, if you wanted to order linens from OCM, a company we work with, just go to our website and type in optional services or look for optional services. Desk hutches, it's going to tell you which halls those are recommended for. So there are a lot of options there, including the micro fridge information, and you can go right to their website, contact information. So if you have any questions about that, they can answer those questions as well in terms of the leasing or renting options.
Okay, so this question is any cleaning for Seneca?
Seneca is a little bit different. You will have that full kitchen, and where we don't allow items, cooking items in the residence halls, we would allow them in Seneca because they have that tradition. So you could bring a toaster or toaster oven. You can bring anywhere coffee makers, that comes up a lot, Keurigs. We wouldn't allow you to bring an air fryer in a traditional residence hall, but in Seneca that would be permitted because it does have that kitchen and is set up for that. They're not going to provide pots and pans, but you would want to bring, and I would talk, most apartments in Seneca are 4 bedrooms. So make sure you're talking with the roommates so you don't duplicate items like pots and pans and utensils or overdo it. I would say that with any student, make sure you're both not bringing a 60-inch television. You don't need a 60-inch television for a residence hall room, but even a smaller one, you want to make sure you're not duplicating some of those items.
This question isn't on here, but I'm going to throw it out to you. Cleaning of the rooms. Now, who takes care of that?
the students take care of that, hopefully. So we're going to keep an eye on those spaces to the best of our ability. Why? While respecting privacy, but we want to make sure that once they're in that space, they're responsible for that space. We're going to clean the bathrooms, but we're not going to be going in and cleaning the rooms. We do have certain supplies at the desk, or if you have questions or need something, our facilities team could help you with that. They're going to want to help you with that because they don't want to have to go in during any transition periods and clean anything up. So anything they can do to make it easier for you to keep those spaces clean, they're going to work with you on that.
So is anything on that?
I see that Seneca question. I apologize. Yes, Seneca will have that, but you could also bring a TV for your individual bedroom within Seneca. Sorry for the confusion on that.
No problem. So is there anything about the micro fridge on the housing form or just on your website?
The micro fridges are on our website because that's a separate company. The only thing that's going to be directly in the portal when you're applying is the opportunity to purchase renter's insurance through GradGuard. You can decline it. You can ask to receive more information. We do want you to have renter's insurance. You may already be covered by your homeowner's policy, so check that as well, but also check what the deductibles are. Because remember, you're insuring your items, personal items, not the structure. So renter's insurance tends to be cheap, but it helps you if there was some sort of issue, say some sort of water event or other issue, and you had to replace a desk, your textbooks, your laptop, and then clothes, that could add up in a hurry. There are desk hutches, but I don't believe in Seneca because of the style of desks. And on our page, they're going to tell you which halls that you want to consider having a desk hutch for and which ones you wouldn't. For example, in Lincoln, the desks already have a built-in hutch because of the style of desk it is, so you wouldn't need one for that particular area. Seneca is the same way. I probably wouldn't recommend a hutch for Seneca Hall.
So Eric, if you wanted to loft or lift the bed, are there kits or a charge for that?
We ask that if you're going to try to raise your bed that you use traditional risers not to exceed 6 inches. That's going to give you 6 inches more space. You'll be able to go online to our website and look at room dimensions, which includes how much space is under the bed so that you can get more stuff under that. But we don't want you to unloft or to loft it in any unsafe way or modify the bed itself to gain extra space. We want to make sure that if you are going to raise it, there are some beds in most areas that do have settings and allow you to change the height to a certain degree. And the dimensions that are listed on our webpage are typically the maximum amount of space that you have under the bed. If you raise it to its regular setting, and you could get mallets to adjust that when they're designed to be adjusted that way.
Yeah. So adjustments, but no lofting. Eric, let's talk about vacuums and their availability in the residence halls. And does a student need one?
No, because they can get it from the main desk. Not going to be on each floor, but they would be able to go to the main desk to get a vacuum cleaner. So, or a broom or something else that they may need. Depending on your individual preferences, you might want to get one of those little electric sharks or bring a broom with you. Even flooring varies. Some are that hard surface, others are carpeting, like in towers. So you may clean the floors a little bit differently, but when in doubt, and you have any questions, students can always go to the main desk to get the tools that they may need to keep those rooms clean.
And we also would like to remind you that these rooms are not that big, so space is always an issue. So everything that you bring will need to take up some space, so a vacuum might not be what you want, since you can get it downstairs and save that space for something else.
You don't need the full-size Dyson.
Not here. So Eric, if you want cable, that's provided by the housing, or is there an extra charge for that?
That is provided free of charge. We do have cables in the room. You just need to bring, actually, you can go to our desk and get a coax cable as well to connect to that port. as well. I would go also to our website, type that in, because there are some TV requirements as well to make sure that you can, certain types of TV are more compatible, and our ITS team has done a lot of research to ensure that you're purchasing an item that's going to work on our cable system.
And no one asked, but I will say, when you're doing that and looking up the cable on the website, you can also find information on gaming, should your student want to bring an Xbox or something like that. Eric, is there a microwave in Seneca Hall?
Yes, there is. Sorry, I made that confused. Seneca does have that full kitchen, the stove, the oven, the refrigerator, and the microwave.
So if they've already signed up for a room, can they still search for another room without losing their current placement?
Yes, yes, unless you hit live here and then accept it like you did when you initially selected the original spot, you can still peruse and browse. So I don't want anybody to get scared that if they go to that next step there, you will, if you do select another room, you will no longer be in that room and somebody else could select that space. But as long as you don't hit live here and actually change your room, you won't be moved.
Thank you. Okay, well, that's the end of our questions again. Anyone out there have another question for us? We're happy to answer them while you have us here. Here we go. What's the setup for computers? I'm not sure about the right question, but do you need an Ethernet cord, or is Wi-Fi available, or is it a problem?
We are now all wireless. So there are wireless access points throughout the residence halls to ensure that everybody, no matter where they're at, where they're assigned, are going to have good solid access to the network. So we do not offer the plug-in Ethernet option anymore. That's kind of a thing of the past, but wireless is available throughout the building, including the rooms, and wireless access points throughout to ensure strong connectivity.
Thank you. Okay, we'll just wait a couple seconds and see if we have any more questions. Oh, their tech support has put in some good stuff about our IT, and I should have anticipated this question. How about printers?
You can bring a printer, but there's also central printing locations within the residence halls. For example, if you walk into towers, you can print right near the main desk and send documents to that printer. So it's not a necessity to have them. There's also the services available in the library as well.
And our printers are not permitted to be on the network. So if you did feel like you needed a printer, it would need to be wired. Is the printing free, or is there a cost to print at the general central system?
I believe there's a nominal cost to print.
I believe it's
Don't know the
6
exact
cents a
cost.
page.
How many cents?
I believe it's 6 cents a page.
6 cents.
And tech support, once again, saves us with a great link to all of that cool information. We would be lost without our tech support here in this session. Right.
And we do have full tech support that you can call as well,
Exactly.
including if you were experiencing Wi-Fi issues. So if there was some issue with an access point. Thank you, tech support on the 6 cents a page. That and the micro fridge, shame on me for not knowing.
There you go. Tech support just added the phone number to our IT services that students or parents can call at any point if you have a specific question. They help with all of our tech support. Students, when you call, you will need that 800 number. And keep in mind, you'll need that 800 number for everything while you're here on campus. So once you have that, you're going to need to memorize it.
Please start using your WVU email account or Mix account too. That's how the university is going to communicate with you as well. If you need to communicate with us to confirm your identity, we need to know that you used your university credentials to log on to your email account. So if you're making some special request of us, we know it's coming from you.
That is another good point. Parents, students, parents encourage your students to use their Mix account, and students start using that all the time, because that's how you're going to get information from us. and we wouldn't want you to miss out on anything. So that appears to be all the questions that we have for tonight. If you'd like to view this again, no worries. We're recording it and we'll have it up on the Mountaineer Parents Club website soon enough, and you can watch it again or sit down with someone in your family who wasn't able to join us and they can watch it. So again, I'm from the Mountaineer Parents Club, so I'd just like to share with you our contact info. If you need something beyond this evening, please let us know. Reach out to us at the Mountaineer Parents Club. We're happy to answer your questions or help you in any way. We have our website up there for you, and you can email us at parentsclub@mail.wvu.edu at any time. We love Facebook. We have 3 Facebook pages. So all of you out there, please check out, if you're not already on our official Families of the WVU Class of 2026 Facebook page. That's for all of our incoming freshman families. And we have a lot of great information, and we share a lot of information. And a parent might ask a question that you didn't even know you had, and you can get the answer right there. So do check that out and join us. If you need something and you would like to call us, feel free, but you can also reach out on our 800 number. That's answered by our colleague, Katie Gallagher, and she's happy to answer your questions as well. So 800 WVU 0096. And tech support has put in here a great page for our students to join should you want to. So check that out. We will have some upcoming events after this. So we'll have 2 more Living at WVU sessions for housing that will be different from this one. So please join us. And we're going to have the second of our 3 sessions with the WVU Hub. If you missed that first one, you can find that on our website, but you can join us next week, learn a little bit more about the FAFSA and why it should be filled out, and ask the Hub any tuition or payment questions that you have. So we'll say goodnight now, and thank you all so much for joining us. We hope to see you again at our future sessions. They are all different, so we'd love to see everybody at any point. If you need something in the meantime, let us know, and have a wonderful evening. Thank you.